Did I just visit Virginia's best Indian motorcycle dealership? Watch and find out. Ramblin' Man here at the close of the day. I just got back from making kind of a long ride down to the Indian dealership in Newport News, Virginia. And I'm going to share a little bit in the video about why I went down there. But I just want to recap now that I'm back and I was thinking about that visit on the ride down. I'm going to say that I walked into that dealership and immediately happened to bump into Ed, the owner, and I had heard about him on the road from different people. He happened to be right there, greeted me warmly, had a little bit of conversation. And then I was approached by, I guess, 3 more people, you know, who I made it clear I was not there to buy a bike that day, that I was just checking them out, and they all took their time and made some friendly conversation. I don't think they really wanted to be in the video. I had footage rolling the whole time, but we were talking about some things and other dealers in Virginia. I told them I would hit delete and put some of that on the cutting room floor. But I just have to say, like, that is a contrast. There is a dealer that's closest to me. And I've actually walked into that dealership, you know, after riding my motorcycle up there, walked around and looked around, spent 15 minutes in there, 20 minutes. Nobody even acknowledged I was there. Or if they did, it certainly wasn't a warm conversation. And so right there is immediate contrast. I also think that location is about double the size of the other one I've been to in the past, maybe larger. There's a lot of bikes in there, a lot of clothing. A lot of clothing I don't think I've even noticed online. I've actually bought a bunch of Indian clothes just because they're good quality, and to me it strikes up conversations with people. If I'm not on the bike, it strikes up conversations, which I welcome. They also touted to me while I was there, Ed did, that they had been named the best dealership in North America for customer service rankings on service. And when I have met other riders on the road for Indian, and I ask them about that dealership, if they've been there, they love it, and they say that the service department is fantastic. And I have to say, you know, when I talk about one dealership that was my first interactions with Indian, when people on the road talk about that one, they talk about how the service department went downhill after they lost one guy. It seems like there's really only one guy working on bikes when I'm there. And when I, you know, took some footage looking around this place, I think there was 3, maybe 4 people working on bikes. And as it turns out, my kid played a basketball tournament against a family that my wife met. And I guess the wife of that family said, "Oh yeah, my husband works at the Indian dealership in Newport News." So I went in there and we figured out the name, and it turns out that person's, I think, the general manager, and he was working on bikes in the service shop, and we spoke quickly just to exchange kind of small world sort of stories. I'm not going to include all the footage because a lot of what I recorded didn't really come out great, or I could tell they really didn't want it. They were speaking kind of unfiltered on some things about some things I don't think, you know, I'll probably put in the footage. But I'll share some of the footage, give a look around, and that's about it. I think it was a great visit. I really wish they were closer to me. If I took I-64 down, it's probably going to be about an hour and a half versus 45 minutes one way for the closest dealer. But there's no comparison between these 2 dealerships in terms of service and quality. The next dealership up north to me is probably about an equidistant, and I'd be fine with that dealership too. But I think I'm going to give these guys in Newport News a shot. I've got a warranty issue that the first dealer, their response was, all of the bikes do that, just turn off the feature. And I talked about that today with Ed, the owner. He's like, I've never heard of any bike doing that. And he encouraged me to schedule an appointment. Maybe they could do it the same day on the same visit and try to diagnose and fix it, given the driving distance. So anyhow, I just wanted to say, I don't know if they're the best dealership in Virginia. I haven't been to them all. Maybe that'll be a future project. I know there's some out in the western part of our state, southwestern part. I've been to, I'm trying to think if I'm missing. I haven't been to the one in the southwestern part of the state. I can't remember if there's another one in the east. that I've missed, but I've been to, a couple of others. I will say that when I meet other Indian owners from Virginia and I ask them about different dealerships, that dealership in Newport News, by far, people will say that's the best one. You got to go to them. And to me, that means a lot. That's really what matters, is do fellow riders like them. So let's go. I'll share some of the footage for you, but that was my wrap up here at the end of the day. And here's how the day started. 3, 2, 1, go. Ramblin' Man Moto coming at you. Beautiful day here in the country. I'm going to head down to an Indian motorcycle dealer, Indian motorcycle, that I've never been to. But every time I'm on the road and I talk to fellow Indian owners that I bump into, all of them that have been to this dealership, which is Indian Motorcycles down in Newport News. I think maybe they call them the southeast or something of Virginia, but I'm going to take some back roads and head that way. Figured I'd take you along for the ride. I'm taking the scenic route rather than using the interstate, so it's adding about 35-40 minutes to the trip, but we got time to kill. And if I can, I'll show you around down there as well. All right, let's get on the road. Ramblin' Man coming at you. We're on the road headed to Newport News. I'll share part of the ride with you. So you may be wondering, why would I go, according to my GPS, over 2 hours and 17 minutes to visit an Indian dealer? And that's one way, so I gotta come back after that trip. Well, one of the downsides, if you want to call that, to Indian versus, say, a Harley dealer is, in my area, I can think of, 3 Harley dealers, all within, not too far of each other. Indian, the closest dealer to my house, is about a 45-minute one-way trip. And, if you don't like them from my area, then the next one is another 45 minutes or so on top of them. Well, I'm in that camp, but, I'm generally reluctant to give a negative review. You never know when you might need somebody's help. But I'm not alone when I say that my closest dealer is not one I prefer to work with. Someone pointed out to me that nobody there actually seems to ride motorcycles or to enjoy talking about them. And once he said that to me, I can't unsee it. It hit perfectly with what I was experiencing when I went into this dealership, is that I just felt like I was a number, and the owners seemed very distrustful of Indian corporate and annoyed by customers. And the times I've been in there, the very first time was when I was deciding to buy my first bike. And as soon as I had some questions or negotiation, they ghosted me. They quit responding to phone calls and emails, just quit. And so I bought the bike from the other dealer up in Northern Virginia. And then when I've been back in there, like with a coupon, now, I'm not an idiot. I can read terms and conditions on a coupon. And I got into this whole, I would call it a shouting match, because the owner was trying to treat me as if he was the only adult in the room, and we're all a bunch of idiots about how business works and the world works. And he even dared me to call Indian. Well, he called him in my presence and gave a very one-sided summary, and then actually told me to be quiet. And that was kind of the final straw for me. And actually, I got Indian involved, and they agreed with me. I got no apology. I got a lecture about how Indian corporate sucks, and he's probably going to get screwed on the coupon. It's every time I'm in there, it's not a great experience. And I've told the story before, but when I had my very first bike, or deciding on it, when I told them I was a new rider at this location, man, they just seemed, the salesman, irritated maybe, bored. And I went up to that other dealer, and when I mentioned I was new, I was introduced to, I guess, one of the owners or a manager, and he didn't know that I was actually there to buy the bike that day. He didn't know that. But he said, well, look, why don't you get on a bike here in the parking lot? Because I told him I was a little nervous about buying the first bike. And he spent like 45 minutes talking to me about motorcycles, giving me advice. He put me on a bike there in the parking lot and had me do some straight lines and some basic circles. And he was a class act. So I ended up buying from them. And I'm glad I did. Now, they're a multi-brand place. I would probably be content riding up there. But the reason I'm riding today, one, it's something to do. But two is when I meet other Indian riders on the road, they just all really like this dealership in Newport News. So I figure, what the heck, rather than making my first appointment, because I might have them. Some of you will recall I did a video about the cylinder deactivation on this bike. It works perfectly on the Super Chief. But on this bike, I was getting error messages. It was working when it was turned on, it said, when it wasn't supposed to be, and it wasn't on when it was supposed to be. And the wonderful people at the Indian dealers that's closest to me put in their report, all of them do that, turn it off. And I gotta tell you, that really pisses me off. And the other thing was, they had something else they told me they had submitted under a warranty. Kept following up for weeks. Then I decided to call Indian Corporate. Turns out they hadn't submitted anything. So I just don't want to work with them anymore. So I'm hoping eventually to get this bike looked at by some other dealer. Just, you know, it ought to work. And others of you in the comments have told me that you own the same bike and the cylinder deactivation does work. They don't all do that. Just such laziness by the other dealer. So anyhow, that's what I figured I'll just ride down there and meet these folks. And I really don't want to drive 4 hours to have my bike worked on. This one is, let's see, that other dealer, probably about the same. Both of those dealers that are the next closest to me, I guess they're about equidistant. I'd be fine going to the other dealer up near DC, and I may try them. What the heck, I figured I would just use this as an excuse to take the scenic back roads. This is the town of Ashland, Virginia, we're about to go through. Randolph-Macon College is up here on the left. Like we might have a train about to go through, or just did go through. Yep, there we go. Amtrak blowing through. I will stipulate that I have not been on these roads often back here. I've been on this road once before when I came looking for the house of Edmund Ruffin. I think I got the location wrong. I think I was on the wrong side of the divided highway, but I was on this road for that trip. And I didn't plan a specific route. I'm just letting this thing, I looked at it on Google Maps, but I really haven't played around too much with importing routes. I just signed up for Rever, whatever it is, and it's clunky. Frankly, all of these things are clunky to me. It's interesting, given how we all have a shared interest in planning trips and exporting to a device. None of them seem to do a great job of it. And like, if all I wanted to do was follow Google Maps, I could mount the phone if I wasn't worried about damaging the camera from the shaking. But I want to plan the trip in certain steps or certain roads. It's not as easy using technology. Of for example, on the Rever website, where you want to plan your trip on a big screen, not on your little phone. On the website, you can't see turn-by-turn directions. You just have to zoom in on the map and hope you've picked the right street. Also, like when I was looking at planning the trip to Skyline Drive, if I'm on Google Maps, I type in Skyline Drive and it shows me like all the entrances. You pick one. You type Skyline Drive in Rever and you get no points of interest, and you get some roads that might have had Skyline Drive in the name. And I reached out to them to make sure was there some setting I haven't checked, and they told me no, there's no setting. You can't do it, but you can do it if you go to the mobile app and then click like start trip. Then I can see what it comes back with. So you got this clunky interface where the mobile device has more power than the desktop website. I tried using Basecamp and I just stopped quickly. I just found the whole thing, I don't know why it has to be so complicated. I think overall with Rever, I've got it down where I could plan a trip on the desktop, export it, then import it into this. I tried to do one road test and then realized a mistake I'd made, and then I haven't run another one. I'm under their free trial right now for the Pro subscription. It's only $20 a year, not a ton of money. Because I don't really do group rides, I don't know what other programs people are using to share their trips. As Hank Williams sang, I've been down that road before. I've been down this road too, once before. See that plane out there, right there? Heading into Richmond Airport, which I guess is about that way. If I got my bearings straight here. Clearly it's somewhere over there. Right here. Woohoo, we made it, guys. Let's go in and we'll check this place out, all right? All right, guys, I made it here to this Indian dealership of Newport News. I'm going to go in, check the place out. Let's get in and check it out. How you doing?
What brings you in today?
Oh, I'm just riding around.
Okay.
I just been meaning to check you guys out. I've never been here.
How you doing?
Good, good, good. How you doing? I own an Indian, and every time I meet other Indian owners, they say, this is the place I should come and check out.
You own an Indian?
Yeah, I rode in. I was just killing time today, just riding around. And
where you ride in from?
Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah, we...
Not been in here?
Well, I live in Richmond, and I usually have been to Fredericksburg or Dulles. And swapping some stories with people on the road about experiences. Yeah. Everyone said, you got to go to Newport News. So I've got something down the road. I'm hoping you guys, I've got a Springfield and a Super Chief Limited. And I got something on the Springfield. Eventually, I'd like to call you guys and maybe come down here. Some warranty stuff, I think. But otherwise, I just wanted to come in.
#1 service department in North America.
That's what I've heard. I have not.
Have you heard that? No, we got an award in January from Indian or from Polaris, the leadership. We're the #1. We have the happiest service customers in North America.
That's cool, man. No, that part I had not heard. I had just heard everybody I talked to was really happy, which is not the case with every other dealership, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Richmond's gone. Dulles is okay. Fredericksburg didn't have a good service department for a while. Well, they had a good guy, Duffy, but he left.
Exactly,
And
yep.
they've never been able to get it together after that, really.
That's a Springfield like I own. Isn't that a pretty bike? Lots of nice inventory here. Some of the other dealers I go to, they got 2 or 3 bikes sitting in the shop, and that's about it. Now, I can tell you this location has way more inventory of bikes that they have here, and a larger store overall, I think, by square footage. Clothing's probably about the same, but I don't usually buy clothing in the stores. But it's nice to come and look at the bikes, and they got a lot of them in here. I'll show you around here. That was the entrance where I came in over here. Do a quick 360 around. I think they've actually got more clothes than the other location. Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff here. Some of the stuff I haven't seen online. Hasn't caught my eye anyway. So I think my next bike is going to be a Roadmaster. I like the ones that have the headlights on the sides. like this one here. Not too fond of that seat that's on there. And I think I might get a Roadmaster this year.
Are you available? You want to look on your calendar on your phone on the 20th and 21st of May? It's a Tuesday. Yeah, we have the demo truck here.
Oh, okay, great.
Test ride everything. You can test ride the new Power Plus Roadmasters too.
I'm going to put that in here. That's 20 and 21st.
Yeah,
Okay.
20th and 21st. It's a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Yep. I'm going to put it in my calendar here. Thanks for letting me know that.
Oh, no. Yeah, everyone has a blast. You don't have to go out in a group. You can go out by yourself. You can go out with friends. You can go out with a spouse on the bed. Doesn't matter. You just have to come back every half hour.
That is cool to hear. That is, I've been to 2 demo days. One was in Dulles. They ran it similarly, and Fredericksburg, of course, does a convoluted group ride.
Yep.
That is cool.
Yeah, as soon as they started allowing doing that, I'm like, fuck yeah. Much better experience.
Yeah, that one in Dulles, that's what made me buy the Super Chief. And it was me and like 5 guys. We were just having a blast.
Yeah.
That Springfield that I have has got some weird issue where the cylinder deactivation keeps cutting on, or the sign comes on that says it's on while I'm cruising down the interstate. Then when it's supposed to turn on, it doesn't work. And Fredericksburg's response to that was, they all do it, turn it off.
I never heard of one doing it.
I posted a few comments in a few places and got the same answer you just offered. People that told me they own the same bike and it's never done it. So I thought I might see about coming down here one day.
What year is it?
22. And the guy I bought it from had prepaid for like an extended service contract that he let me transfer over. So I did that already.
Indian one?
Mm-hmm, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love the bike. I wasn't sure with that if I'd have to leave it overnight or for a while, or if that was...
Well, yeah, I'll make an appointment and talk you through it and see if they can do it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Today was kind of an impromptu thing. I just hopped on the bike and had never come this way. You guys got a lot of nice inventory. I'm hoping if I ever get one of these, it's going to be in something other than just black. But this is kind of the style I want, with the driving lights. This is kind of what I'm looking for. Whereas the other ones you can see don't have that. They have the turn signals out here, but no riding lights. It's kind of like this one. I think this might actually be a higher, no, maybe not. I'm going to say, I see more of them like this than I do this. So this is the Roadmaster Elite, so that's probably why it's a different. And this one's over here. Roadmaster Dark Horse, which I do like those, but I think I'm going to stick with chrome. This is a chrome Roadmaster Limited. And then what? This is Elite that has the riding lights. I'm just going to recap what Ed just told me, that here at their demo days, here in Newport News, they're having it May 20 and 21st, and you can go out riding on your own in 30-minute stretches and come back. That's much better than doing a group ride. So it's during a work week, but I think I might try to see if I can come down here for that. So what were they asking? What was the base price? Whoo, $41,999. $850 dealer freight, $390 on setup. That's a lot of money. Oh, they got an upstairs as well. Wonder if that's open to the public up there.
They'll get motivated as soon as it's going. You know, if I have to make calls around my rep, go under his rep, and then have
Check out over here.
you know, who your best deal overall. Yeah, so it's awkward when you try to announce that you have the record.
Yeah, this is definitely larger than the other stores I've been to. Guess this is the service area here. And man, I've heard great things about their service area. That white Roadmaster over there, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna hit the road and head on back home. I really like these guys here, and I plan to come back up here when I need some work done. All right, see you on the road.